Kia ora folks, ADV, your local Bushman here. What I thought we'd talk about today is outdoor gear theory. Now, this theory is based on research that I've done personally myself. I can't give you direct results because of the weather at the moment. It's not raining, it's not sunshine, it's actually really early in the morning. As you folks know, that's the only time I can get my workouts in for trail running or just keeping fit for the bush in general. Now, this video is about, as I said, research and my own findings and conclusions from using tarps. So stay tuned. Kia ora folks, ADV, your local Bushman here. Welcome back folks. Today's video is about tarp theory. I call it W.A.M, an abbreviation obviously. What that means to me at the moment is wasteful applicable area of material, specifically for tarps. Now you're probably wondering, what on earth are you talking about, Russ? Well, I'm talking about tarps and salvage, and why I believe that if you're DIYing or buying a tarp, you should account for wasted area of effective material. Now, it sounds like jargon to you. It's really not when you use tarps a lot, like a lot of us bushcrafters and some of my through hiking and trail running buddies do as well. Use tarps as a lightweight, effective means of shelter. You obviously get a better view of the wilderness, you're more immersed, and it's more pleasant and blends in better than a tent. This is not a tent I don't like you because I'm a bushcrafter type of video. This is more of a for tarp people, tarpology and tarp theory. As you folks know, I started my own tarp business. Now the reason why I've told you guys before is because I wanted inexpensive, lightweight tarps for trampers, through hikers, bushcrafters as well, predominantly for them. Because I was sick of paying for the prices that you would have to get something light, durable, but had that sort of bushcraft perfect space of like 2 to 3 meters, and was a square or rectangle tarp. I was also sick of the market, as I said, not disgracing anyone, but I'm sick of the American style of tarps. Like everything's built in. Those are great tarps. I've used some. I've used quite a few of those Ray Jardine tarps, the DIY ones. Great tarps. It's just a different theory to bushcrafters, where we like, or through hikers, trail runners, we like them just super simple square cuts, no cat cuts, no sort of like a additional porch area to bring it out to keep it tauter. We just like to keep it basic, you know, just square stuff, everything right angle, because it's easier. It's a lot more easier instead of having rounded edges or anything like that. Just keep it easy, okay? So what I'm going to do after I drink this cup of tea, obviously, is I'm going to show you the whiteboard. It's a bit of a drawing and showing type video, but this is from my own research and findings of things that I've seen and noticed while staying under a tarp in the wilderness. So, okay, so this is my theory on, ignore the top title, but tarp theory. Wasteful application or absence of material. W.A.M. Now, what I'm talking about in this tarp theory is, I'll show you. Okay, this is a bad drawing, kind of a good drawing, sort of a rectangle tarp. Okay, we can tell it's a rectangle tarp, obviously, right? Here's go loops, standard setup, super standard setup for trail runners, for bushcrafters, for through hikers. A very super standard setup, simple, simple to manufacture, great design, just simply robust, right? Okay, now wasted area. Yeah, I'm going to go over to here. Wasted area denotes 3 centimeters. What do I mean by that? Okay, so I'm just going to move that over here, obviously. Now, just pan it down a bit. Wasted effective area of material, or wasteful absence of material, right? W.A.M. What that means is, with most tarps, right, from my own research and findings staying under a tarp, 3 to 5 centimeters around where the selvage or the rough uncut area around the edges of the tarp before it's sewn and hemmed, right? Right. Can you see the hemming along here, along the edge? Really is, in reality, a wastefulness of material, and the absence of that material prevents total effective coverage area, or TECA, right? I know weird acronyms, but what I mean by that is the 3 centimeters along. It varies on setups and that, but for the most part, it's a minimum 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters around each edge of this tarp is wasted. What do I mean by that? Because it hits or comes near the ground or makes no contact with any direct surface like the ground or making a wall, right? Even if this, let's say a classic plow point, there is a tarp pole here, this point is high, right? All of these are pegged down to the ground. Those 3 centimeters around, as I said, it varies on different setups, but 3 centimeters minimum is a wasted area of effective cover. What I mean by that is wind, debris, rain, depending on the angles, there's different variables obviously. I can't control weather, neither can you, neither can anyone, that's why we go outdoors. Well, anyway, this area is wasted because it's not covering you. So when we're purchasing our 2.1 by, let's say 2.1 tarps, right, a square tarp, 210 centimeters by 210 centimeters. I don't know the inches because we don't use that in New Zealand, but I'm just going to say 2.1 meters by 2.1 meters, okay folks? That really is, if we do the math, that is only 207 centimeters by 207 centimeters effective coverage area. As I said, variables, wind blows at a different angle, brings in debris different angle, rain drips at a different angle, different wind speed, all that stuff. These are all different variables I can't control, you can't control, science can explain, but we can't control those. What we can control is our tarps. And as I said, these edges are actually wasted because they're not actually covering you. They just sort of dangle there. They're either hitting the ground or touching the air, right? So as I said, back to our plow point setup, we got a tarp pole here. This is raised, this end, these are all pegged down, right? Right, well, because that's open, we're going to give that 3 centimeters, right? 3 centimeters of wasted area. We lose 3 centimeters of effective cover. Could be more, obviously. 3 to 5 centimeters, 3 to 10, depends on the setup. Yet again, I just have to reiterate that. 3 centimeters minimum we lose in coverage because it's not actually directly covering our total effective coverage area, or TECA, right? I'll just grab this in here. There's always a little square, a little rectangle, could be we'd be lying that way or that way. It doesn't matter. There's always a square or rectangle of effective area. Say we got our bodies here, and we got our bag here, some shoes here, and some other bits and bobs within this TECA effective area. This stuff will remain totally, you can say, environment free under your shelter. So that's the total effective coverage area of your tarp shelter, depending on design and different pitch ups. You do different setups obviously and all that, and all the other variables. This 3 centimeters is wasted. So by this tarp theory, what I mean is, as I said, these little lines, wasted area, denotes 3 centimeters. That's a general rule, minimum. When buying or doing our own tarps, An additional 3 centimeters on all sides should apply. What that means is we should be, let's say hypothetical, we're just making a quick DIY tarp, right? No sew-in stuff, nothing tricky, just like basically a plain piece of plastic drop cloth, right? We need to account for, with this theory, that 3 centimeters minimum on each side in depth. So 3 centimeters from that sewn or finished edge into the interior on all sides is going to be wasted because it's not really covering this. It's a wasted area because it's being affected by wind variables that could bring it in, wind or debris on this angle, that angle, whatever angle. And also B, it's either hitting the ground or hitting the air. We're not directly getting shelter or the total effective area of total effective coverage area, TECA, in this area. So it's wasted. So therefore, with this theory, what it suggests is we should always keep in mind when DIYing, in particular our tarps, to cover an additional 3 centimeters on all sides to not totally, but to some degree, counter the effects of wasteful application of material or wasteful absence of material. The W.A.M theory. Okay, it's a theory that people wouldn't think of, but this is just from my own findings. Here's a perfect example. Bad drawing, obviously. This is a tarp pole, like I was saying with the plow point. Let's say a tarp pole, it's just a basic lean-to shelter, right? So we're looking at on the side. You know, obviously, let's say you're laying down this way towards the camera, right? Basic lean-to. Now, depending on setup and variables, wind, and obviously I can't control that, neither can you. That's why we go into outdoors. There is a 3 centimeter minimum of absence or application of that material. So let's say this tarp and this basic lean-to shelter is let's say a classic design, 2.2 by 1.5 meter rectangle tarp, like that, right? Because it's hitting the ground directly, we are not in that corner, our body's not in this corner, right? So that's a waste of material. We're not directly under the direct line of the total effective coverage area. When this raised point's up in the air, we can't control that. We can't control that. We could guide it out and have a little air gap here, as this suggests, and then it's guide out. Yeah, but still, yet again, the 3 centimeter rule apply. That's wasted area. We're not actually covered by that, because that's a marginal area. As I said, variables. We could have rain coming in this end if this is guide out, right? So I'm just gonna draw a loose line here, right? Let's pretend this bad drawing dotted line is a guide line, right? So that's a floating edge lean-to. We're losing this area of coverage. We're not gaining anything from that. Because that's absence area, that becomes not a flaw, but a variable we can't control. So how do we negate some of those effects based on this theory? Well, simple. All we do is make sure to account for it is if we're buying a tarp, to look for a tarp that's slightly bigger. Maybe 10 centimeters on one edge, 10 centimeters that way and 10 centimeters that way. A little bit heavier, sure. But because of that, we are minusing those 10, depending on variations, weather and setup and all that, to give us the true total effective coverage area. So let's say this poncho, right, DD Hammock's poncho, light. It's a 1.4 by I think it's 2.1. I will put the details somewhere in this video of the DD Hammocks poncho light. Great shelter system. I use this quite a bunch. But I came up with this idea and actually finalized the idea when I was staying under this a few weeks back. I was noticing from the weather patterns that between 3 to 10 centimeters on each side, yeah, again, depending on the setup, I wasn't actually covered. Total effective coverage area, TECA, I know we're the acronym, and W.A.M, was applying. So really, this is shorter total effective coverage area than what is actually a finished size. So the finished size, let's say, as I said, I put details in this video, and then I'll correct myself, minus that 3 centimeter minimum rule on each side, what the actual total effective coverage area is. As I said, that's based on different setups with it. Running guidelines, direct to the ground, raised plow points and stuff like that. We are still losing either way, regardless of how we look at it, because of variables and all that, and the wind and the rain and all that. We are losing the total effective coverage area. So this finished size is not the true size. And that applies to everything, all types of things. Ponchos, DIY ponchos. By the way, I've got a video coming up about this. This is with my specialized fabric from my supply, and this is a true no-sew easy DIY tarp system you can do on the sheep. Not the material, but the same premise. Same with W.A.M. Okay, same thing. So it applies to everything. Alright, I'll move it out of the way again. I'll wrap up this video. Alrighty, welcome back. Apologies for the weird camera angles and the lighting. I was trying to fix it. That's why I got my studio lights out. I don't like using them because there's no outdoor channel. I prefer natural sunlight. Anyway, that is my current findings and research with dirt. Dirt time, as Mr. Dave Canterbury would say. Dirt time. That's what dirt time teaches you. That's what it's taught me so far about tarps. Yes, they're great tools, but we need to understand that there is a total effective coverage area that's really covering us in real life, out in nature. Now, obviously, you can have different variables. Say, as I showed you in that demonstration, a basic lean-to, the wind could be coming at a 30-degree angle, or 97 degree, or, you know, one of those degrees in the shade. Obviously, that's the song. But yeah, obviously, there's a lot of variables we can't cover. Well, this theory, it helps to negate some of those variables. You can't negate everything. Things happen all the time. What we can do is understand where we are actually losing that area, the circumference, and applying that rule. Minimum of 3 centimeters. So, simple solution, if we're DIYing our tarps, as I said, I'll put the dimensions of the DD hammock poncho light somewhere in this video, and I'll give you a correct dimensions with the 3 centimeter minimum rule somewhere in this video. What that means is that we are gaining that area back. Yeah, we're gaining maybe like 30 to 50 grams depending on material and fabric and all that, but to get a true actual size of what that tarp's saying is supposed to cover us, we need to understand this theory and how it actually applies. Now, with manufactured tarps, let's say DD hammocks, I'm going to mention a couple of names, Z-Packs and what are some other brands I can say, MSR and REI and Terra Nova and Wild Country, for an example, right? All these brands are tarps. This application still applies to cat cuts, right? Catenary cut tarps. I'll put a picture somewhere in this video for, because generally bushcrafters, trail runners and that, we don't use those type of tarps. That's an American style of backpacking tarp. It's not really a New Zealand thing. We just use straight square cut flies, rectangle, square, that's it. But the same rule would still apply. on that, depending on weather variables, it could actually be worse, a greater or worse situation, a greater wasteful absence of material, wasteful application of material. Because it's rounded and stuff with catenary cuts, we could get 3 centimeters on the plough point of the catenary cut. As I said, I'll put a picture of a catenary cut type guide point somewhere in this video. And because of the loops, we could be losing an additional 20 centimeters of total effective coverage in that area of that tarp. But understanding what I call the W.A.M and TECA, I know weird abbreviations, right? Bushcrafters were like that. Wasteful absence of material and total effective coverage area, we can help counterbalance what we're losing due to variables out in nature. Now obviously we can't control nature, that's why we go out there. I mean, that's why I go out there. I expect it to be hot and it ends up pissing down the rain, and I love that feeling, to be honest. Most bushcrafters do, but yeah, that's my theory. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a bit of a technical design point of view thing. As you guys know, I have a tarp company, Bush Sports Aotearoa. I applied some of that to some of my products that I'm designing because of that. Because we're losing area. So thank you folks for watching this 25-minute video. I'm going to edit this down. Ka kite anō, blessed travels. Thank you folks for watching. I hope you guys understand a bit more about tarp theory, wasteful application of material, wasteful absence of material. I'll put the abbreviation somewhere in this video. And TECA, total effective coverage area. This is specifically for tarps, not tents. So thank you folks for watching again. Blessed travels, ka kite anō, and I shall see you later. See you later.